Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's 3 Bands, and I have got a crazy edition of pickups for you. This is going to be all around Juneteenth. The reason why it is because that's a huge month that we need to celebrate, we need to remember. We also need to remember that we need to continue to always tell our stories, and things that are near and dear to us, we need to fight for it. For instance, behind me in Little Rock, Arkansas, this is Little Rock Central High School. This is the one that went through all the controversy being desegregated. What's really interesting about that is I have a couple of pair of shoes that I want to show you that strikes home. And when it strikes home, I want to just kind of show people and explain it to them a little bit about why things as nonchalant or things that you might not be significant really are. So let's just start talking about this high school, and I'll show it to you and show you how beautiful it is. Just kind of go once around for you. The whole greens, everything around here has been restored and is very lush. Now, the crazy thing about this is, so in 1957, that's when they decided that they were going to desegregate the schools. So this is one of the ones that they were saying, okay, with President Eisenhower, you got to get it done. Now, the governor at that time, and I'll pop his name up, he didn't want that to happen. So he sent out the National Guard. He sent out the National Guard to keep black students from coming in. Well, at any rate, the 9 showed up. It's called the Little Rock 9. They showed up, but she didn't know, she was just going to school. And of course, there was a huge mob out here, and the National Guard, again, they were here not to let them in. So they put the bayonets out, and they basically chased them away in a big mob, and they were yelling all kinds of profanities and things that you would think that they would say that I'm just not going to repeat online. It's not healthy, and I don't want to do that. So what ended up happening was, a few weeks later, President Eisenhower was really, really upset by this. So what did Eisenhower do? He made sure that the National Guard was withdrawn. But with that being said, the governor sent out his entire police force. The entire police force to make sure they couldn't get in. Absolutely insane. And during that time, they ended up beating up a reporter. I mean, that's just really sad. Now you say, how did it eventually happen when the governor didn't want it to happen? When they sent out the National Guard, President Eisenhower had to send in federal troops. To guard these people, to guard these 9 young people who just wanted to come get a fair education. And even when they showed up to get in, it was really hard for them to get them in those front doors. And once they did get in those front doors, they were very, I guess bullied is the term we would use now. Whether it's pushing people, one of them down the stairs, or whether it's calling them absurd names, or whether it's, can you imagine being in the bathroom and toilet paper on fire comes over you? I mean, that's just really, really pretty disgraceful. But there is one person in there. Her last name is Eckerd, and I'm going to walk over here and show it to you on this bush, on this bench that's there to memorialize her, which I just think is amazing. And this is Elizabeth Eckerd. Check that out. And I hope that took a good picture. I'm sure it's probably upside down though. But at any rate, I'm going to now break out some shoes and tell you how important they are while we're here at this absolutely beautiful school. Huge part of history, and a part of history if we don't keep talking about it, it'll go away. And like I always share with you, everything has a story. Okay, here we go. So these are going to be some shoes that came out in 2011. They're Jeremy Scott. And what he modeled them after was a cartoon character. So he had nothing but harmless intentions in mind. But I just want to take you and let you get a closer look at these shoes. They're purple. And guess what's attached to them? Shackles. Isn't that crazy? So it really didn't take too much longer for people to come to the business that, shackles being on shoes just kind of relates back to prisons and just how many African Americans are in prison and wrongfully imprisoned, and how much we do need reform. But to even think that these pair of shoes would have been released is really kind of crazy. But, that's kind of ended up what happened. Now Adidas did issue an apology, and they did pull these off the market, but these are just a really, really big part of history and absolutely should have never been made. You know, for me and my part, I just wonder how many people had to say yes to this pair of shoes before it get to the production phase, and that's kind of what blows my mind. All right, so here it is. Now this is going to be a crazy shot because you're going to see these Jeremy Scotts that got banned, and on the other side, these are going to be a tribute shoe to Martin Luther King. Don't know why they did not ever get made. I'm going to pick them up real quick for you just to kind of show you a couple neat things, and when I get home, I'll also show you some things. On the inside here, and I'll take a better picture, is a part of the speech for Martin Luther King. Inside are all the sayings from Martin Luther King. What's really cool is around the back, it says, "We cannot walk alone." And then right there, this is going to be the, it is, with Martin Luther King on it. And all around it has all of his verbiage and has all of his words. Now, I'll pick them both up just to show you. And again, I'm going to put better pictures when I get home. But look at that. Now, why didn't these shoes make it to production, which has far more significance? Why are these on the chopping block and didn't get distributed? And these did. It just comes down to politics and fact. So there we go. Now, these is really quite incredible stories, talking about the Little Rock Nine and remembering them and remembering all their families. You know, they even went so far. I'll send an article. I'll put one in the link of where I got a lot of my information from. And there's so many details that I just don't really have the time to cover with you right now. But, you know, one of the ones is, you know, after they brought in the National Guard, because Eisenhower said you have to desegregate, that dude closed down all the schools for a year. It's like the year of missing school, just because he didn't want to be, you know, integrated. And that's crazy. And if you think we've come a long way, well, you're right, we have come a long way, but we haven't come that long a way. You know, at the end of the day, I say collect what you love, always tell a story. For me, the point of this is that these shoes have a great story to tell. And when they get put out and you're just putting out things that you don't realize that are going to offend anybody, then I feel like somebody should have spoke up. So the whole point to this is collect what you love, have a point, and speak up, you know, because if you don't speak up, who will?